brief overview of the way part 2 of your weekly wrap up is supposed to look. Now, you want to create a new Google document for this assignment. Basically, what are we doing here? In part 1, you added 2 sentences from your lecture notes that you took in class to the shared class notes page. Part 2 of the assignment is basically, why do these notes matter? I want you to explain to me your thinking. How do these notes that you added to the course notes page help to answer the essential question? I want to hear from you why they are significant. So what I did on this example part 2 submission is I put the instructions here as like a template to follow. So for instance, what do you need to have in this Google document that you create each week for part 2 of the wrap-up assignment? Well, what did you actually contribute to the course notes page? List it here word for word so that I can find it in the course notes if I would like to review it. So remember what you added. One of the submissions you put on the course notes page from your notes, as an example, was information about difficulties the Americans experienced during the American Revolution. So there it is, word for word. This is what you actually added to part 1 of the assignment. Now remember, you want to put all cited quotes in quotation marks. And you always want an introductory phrase, and you want to cite your work with a footnote. So what do I mean by introductory phrase? You want to let the reader know where this information is coming from. So something as simple as, according to my lecture notes, right? And then you want to footnote this thing. And so you want to say, insert footnote, and all you need for the lecture notes is the topic of the lecture. Just say American Revolution lecture notes, and it always helps if you spell check. I'm a terrible typist, right? And that's all you need for that. So here are your lecture notes. You've got an introductory phrase, you've got it footnoted. Excellent. Then I want you to show me very clearly which of the week's essential questions these notes apply to. So then you go in very simply and copy and paste the essential question for the week. And then here, the last part for the first section, you want to explain to me why these notes are important, right? Let me see here. What you need to do here is simply explain to me in your own words how these notes help to answer this particular essential question. That's it. Show me you understand why these notes matter. Show me you understand that this isn't simply, irrelevant, random, miscellaneous information thrown into your notes, that you've actually thought about this carefully and you found notes that you took during class that will help you to answer this particular question. Okay, so this is what it should look like. Remember, you want to provide information about 2 separate contributions to the class notes. So you've got evidence number 1 that you discuss. You do the same exact thing for the second piece of evidence, right? Label it evidence number 2. Remember, we also added information here. This was the second piece of class notes, the second contribution to the class notes that you added. Remember, you always, as a best practice, you want to give all cited quotes an introductory phrase. You want to enclose it in quotation marks. You want to cite it, create a footnote. All you need here is And keep in mind, if this was an actual part two weekly wrap up, these would be the same thing because we only have one topic per week, but this is just an example. So you've got that. And again, you want to do the same thing. Make sure you highlight for me which essential question these notes are addressing. So you want to put the essential question in there, word for word. That's it. And same thing here. Explain to me why these notes matter. Why are they significant? And again, let me emphasize here: the point is not busy work. It's not just to accumulate some points. The whole idea here is to try to prepare you for the exam. The essential questions that you read on, that we discuss each week, these are the questions that will be on the exam. So that's the point here. Why? I want you to explain why these notes help to answer this particular question, whichever question it is that you're working on, because you're going to have to use your lecture notes in the exam. And which lecture notes do you want to use? You want to use those lecture notes that help you to answer whichever essential question that you get on the exam.